What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer back from my brief hiatus with a brand new video talking about the many mysteries and secrets on the new Petra Deathmatch map. While many others have already talked about these new details, I wanted to give my own thoughts and insights regarding all the strange and intriguing things we can find here, which could be hinting at anything from new heroes, to another new map, to even the presence of ghosts. So without further ado, let's jump right on in. So first up, despite the fact that I'm sure everybody has noticed it already, I want to talk a little bit about the archaeological organization which seems to be conducting the excavation here at Petra. For starters, we have the tent located outside Petra itself, which has a distinct logo on it that we have not seen anywhere before. Presumably, this is the logo of whatever organization or faction is doing the excavation here at Petra, but unfortunately, we don't know what this organization is called. Judging by the logo itself, it appears to be something like a spearhead or possibly a trident. However, it's also possible that it's some kind of torch, with the yellow part in the middle being the flame, with the black outer parts representing the metal head of the torch, which keeps the fire contained inside. Now, this torch theory might be even further supported when we take a look at a duffel bag lying near the tent itself. On it, we get the same new logo, but beneath it, it says Blaze. Now, it's possible that this is just the name of one of the team members who's doing work here at Petra, but it is also possible that this is the name of the organization itself. Blaze, albeit spelled differently than how we see it here, is a word that's pretty synonymous with fire, and therefore having a torch for the organization's logo would make quite a bit of sense. Again, this is all just speculation based off of the minor details we have on this map, but I think it's a good lead to at least start considering. Anyways, moving on now to some more concrete details that we can look at. We have a few bits of text spread out across the map, which are not only hinting at what exactly is going on here at Petra, but also gives us some new names which we haven't heard before. To start with, we have a tablet near the tent I was talking about, with this text written on it: "Started excavation of the hidden treasure chamber from our recent imaging survey. If there was another method of access in the past, we have not yet discovered it. Thank you for your continued funding of our Petra explorations, ongoing work in Ilios, and the new project in Thailand. Dr. Nacherian is eager to begin. With so many sites under threat, your contributions make it possible for us to continue this important work. Signed, H. Faisal." Now, if we take a look at a laptop, which is also located near this tent, we get some sort of login with the name Hamid. Given that Hamid also begins with an H, it's possible that this is Faisal's first name, meaning we now have the new character introduced of Hamid Faisal. Additionally, if we look back at the tablet, we also have Dr. Nacherian, who is seemingly yet another member of the archaeological team. I will also real quickly mention that there's a good chance I'm mispronouncing these names, and if you do happen to know the proper way to pronounce them, then please don't hesitate to correct me down in the comments. Moving on though, we actually get a third screen with some interesting text on it located deeper within the Petra temple itself. Here it states, "Survey of the uppermost levels of the temple is almost complete. Planning for excavation of the lower chambers. Our greatest finds so far are the statues of Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite, and we are hopeful they will be the first of many. Signed, Ionides." In response, we have early imaging pass has revealed a hidden chamber. Al-Hamdan believes that it might be a significant find, and we have found a narrow opening through which we can perform further excavation. Signed, Faisal. Now, Ionides is clearly talking about the Ilios map and the excavation that we see taking place there. And at this point, we now have 4 unique new names introduced, being Hamid Faisal, Dr. Nacherian, Ionides, and Al-Hamdan. Now, of course, one of the first things that might come to mind is the possibility of any of these names belonging to a future hero. And yes, I do think it is possible, but not necessarily likely. What I think Blizzard is doing here is introducing a number of new names. We've seen this happen in the past with characters such as Emre Sariolu, and I think it's just a way for Blizzard to help flesh out the universe of Overwatch by introducing a number of names and characters to make it feel more rich and realistic. Now, it's certainly possible that we could see these characters show up as playable heroes, and I for one would love to get a new hero that's an archaeologist, since we don't really have anything like that on the current hero roster. However, I wouldn't necessarily get my hopes up for any of these, at least not yet. Maybe if we get some more clues further down the line hinting at these same names, then we should should start looking a bit more closely and begin more speculation. But for now, I think they're a reasonable possibility, but I'm not necessarily convinced. Before I move on though, it's also worth noting that Talon could be involved with this archaeological faction. The email conversation on this laptop talks about the statues which we see on the Ilios Ruins map, and we already know that Talon has some sort of involvement with what's going on at Ilios. We know this from an Athena voice line heard on the Ilios spawn rooms.
Over the past week, Talon activity has been detected in the area. It is my belief that they are attempting to steal the newly unearthed artifacts from the temple ruins atop Ilios.
As well as the fact that the statues seen on Ilios are also present in various other Talon maps, such as Rialto and Chateau Guillard. So it is quite possible that Talon is in fact the ones funding these excavations, but once again, we don't really know anything for sure. Hopefully we'll end up getting some more details regarding it at some point in the future. Moving on now to what I think are actually some of the more interesting details on this map, we can see a lot of different archaeological equipment scattered across the Petra map. Most of it doesn't seem to carry any real significance when it comes to revealing more about the game's story. However, there is one room in particular where you can see a hologram of a globe. At first glance, there doesn't seem to be anything significant here, but upon closer inspection, we can see what appears to be some sort of icon with unreadable text next to it somewhere out in the Pacific Ocean. Now, as far as I could see, this is the only marker like this on the entire globe hologram, so it's possible that it's pointing out something significant. The logical conclusion would be that it might be pointing at Petra itself, or possibly even Ilios. However, neither of those are out in the middle of the Pacific, so what could it be pointing at? If we look closely, we can even see that it's farther west than Hawaii, meaning that it could be pointing at some seemingly random island just out in the middle of the Pacific. The only significant island out there that I could really come up with is possibly the Midway Atoll, which is perhaps best known for its significance in World War II. I'm not really sure what sort of archaeological significance Midway could possess, but from a sort of meta standpoint, it is possible that this is indicating a future map. An island out in the middle of the Pacific would likely possess some sort of tropical theme, which, believe it or not, is actually absent from our current lineup of maps. We have plenty of coastal maps and warm weather environments, but none that are truly tropical. Additionally, it's also possible that this is pointing at not any kind of island at all, and thus maybe is indicating some kind of underwater map, such as an underwater research station. I will admit that this is all very speculative, and honestly, the marker could be nothing. It might just be some information about the globe itself, and it's only placed here because there's a lot of empty space out in the Pacific. Additionally, this exact same globe hologram can actually be found on other maps, mainly being the dropship spawn rooms for most of the control maps. They all feature this same icon in the exact same place, so unfortunately, this probably even further indicates that it's really nothing of interest. However, the idea of us eventually getting some kind of tropical island map still is pretty cool, and I for one would love to have it. Now, moving on to the final topic for Petra and its various mysteries, we have one that I personally find very intriguing, which is the possibility of paranormal ghosts. As if this massive dark chasm in the depths of Petra wasn't already spooky enough, if you get very close to the edge or even fly down into it in spectator mode, you can hear what seems to sound a bit like human whispering. Now, of course, it is possible that this is just the wind, and it just happens to make a very creepy sound on occasion. But if we take into account the real-world Petra, which is located in Jordan, there are actually a lot of people who believe this ancient city to be haunted. While the exact date of its construction isn't known, it's believed that it could have been first constructed well over 2,000 years ago. And the older something is, the more often it seems to accumulate ghosts. Now, the reason I find this so interesting is that if we are to assume that these are in fact supposed to be ghost voices you can hear in this ominous chasm, this would be the first evidence of any sort of paranormal activity within the lore of Overwatch. We of course have heroes like Reaper, who isn't really a true ghost and is more of some sort of scientific mishap, and we also have strange sort of ambiguous spiritual elements, such as Zenyatta and his ability to just levitate, but I do like the idea of there being potentially paranormal entities within this universe, whether they're ghosts or who knows what else. I would love to hear your thoughts regarding what you think about this and any of the other mysteries on the new Petra map, so be sure to leave those down in the comments below. And with that, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to vote in today's poll card, and otherwise be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and share it with a friend if you really liked it. Subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and turn on notifications to both help out my channel and keep up with all my future Overwatch content. This is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.